Welcome to the Life Coach Lounge. I'm Angela.
I'm Lisa.
And I'm Emily.
This isn't a podcast for coaches. It's for you, for real people navigating real life. It's lighthearted, it's deep, and it's grounded in faith, friendship, and purpose.
And once a month, you can join us in our virtual Life Coach Lounge on Zoom.
So pull up a seat. The Life Coach Lounge is open.
Hello and happy Tuesday. Welcome to the lounge, friends. Today's episode is more personal, less teaching, more testimony. Today, we are turning the mirror on ourselves, discussing who we were before coaching, who we are becoming because of coaching. And we are so happy that you're here to listen in. My name is Emily, and I'm here with my friends Angela and Lisa. Ladies, let's start with a fun question. And my only caveat to this is don't overthink it. What is something you used to do but don't do anymore? Or one thing you do now that you didn't in the past? We're thinking before, after here. Lisa, would you like to get us started?
Don't overthink it. Why did you have to preface that? Now I'm really thinking about it. I'm just going to go with what came to mind, which is just buy the shoes that are comfortable. I don't care how much they cost. Just buy the shoes. That is pointless to walk around in uncomfortable shoes.
Yes, love it. Great advice. Angela, how about you?
So 2 weeks ago, I had a dentist appointment, and the dentist told me I needed a root canal. And I said, really, what are my other options? And there is a time I would have never done that. I would have never asked for my options or questioned a doctor or dentist, their recommendation. I would have never done that. And I do it all the time now and feel comfortable doing it.
Love that as well. Advocating for yourself, not being afraid to speak up. I love that. So the example that I thought of was I used to burn scented candles. I loved scented candles. Party light parties, anybody?
I'm pointing to
Yankee.
this candle on my wall, which it's just beautiful to look at. It's a party light candle. I have not put a flame to it in decades, but I'm with you right there, lady.
Me too.
Yep. The Yankee candle store. Oh, and they had their sale with those big jar candles.
Bed Bath and Beyond. Yeah.
Yes, I learned that they are actually not that great for many reasons to be inhaling those. And so it is only essential oil diffusers and beeswax candles for me now. It's kind of fun to think about the before and after. So today we want to share our testimony of what coaching has done for us, a little snapshot of the before and after of coaching in our lives. So this is also in the Christian faith, which all three of us are part of. A Christian testimony is a personal story about how someone came to believe in Jesus Christ, how the decision to follow him has impacted their life. A traditional Christian testimony generally covers three core phrases: who you were before knowing Jesus, the moment of belief and conversion, and then how your life, values, or perspective has changed as a result of following Jesus. So the before, the shift, and the after. Today, I want to draw a parallel. In my opinion, nothing competes with hearing another person's testimony of how they came to know Jesus. I absolutely love hearing those true stories of transformation and hope. But there is also a parallel here in our experience of life coaching. We have a testimony of what life coaching has done for us as well, and we are excited to share with all of you listening. So we believe Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. And many Christian life coaching tools directly correlate to teachings found in God's Word. We believe this is part of the transformation. In Proverbs 23:7, it says, "As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he." That directly relates to coaching. We think about what we're thinking about. Romans 12:2 urges transformation through a renewed mind to discern God's will rather than conforming to the world. Ephesians 4:22 through 24 is where it highlights putting off the old self to be renewed in the spirit of the mind and to put on the new self, which I think we will get to here in this conversation today, true self and false self. That is a coaching tool. So let's get this conversation started. Today, we will be reflecting upon who we used to be before coaching, the shift and what we left behind, and who we are becoming as we continue to apply what we've learned. Let's start with who we used to be. So this is the before picture. We're going to try and be honest, maybe a little uncomfortable here. Ladies, who were you before learning about and applying life coaching tools? How would you have described yourself back then? Is there a story or a moment that might capture exactly who you were before coaching found you? Angela, do you want to get us started today?
Yeah, I was not aware that I was doing this at the time, but in hindsight, I would have described myself as a stuffer. I was just stuffing all my emotions, just going through the motions of life. And it's interesting when I think back on that because my kids called me a fixer. Like, Mom, you're a fixer. And I think they go together because I was always trying to fix everyone else's discomfort so that I wouldn't feel discomfort because I was like unwilling to feel anything. And so, yeah, stuffer and fixer was definitely my before.
And what was the emotion, would you say, you carried most back then? Or maybe you weren't feeling your emotions.
It
Maybe you
was,
can't even
yeah,
identify the
that's what
emotion.
it was. I would say I stuffed so much that I was numb. I was like flatlined. I mean, if someone, I even remember a time someone said, "Oh my gosh, that's so amazing. How do you feel about that?" And I was just like, I have no idea. I have no idea. I literally have no idea how I feel. I was completely numbed out.
Wow, thank you for sharing. Lisa, how about you? Who were you before coaching?
I think I might have had a locker right next to Angela's locker of let's stuff it all in there and hope it doesn't pop. Because, yeah, compartmentalize it, queen of compartmentalization. And so, since she said a stuffer, I'm going to say again, I will say, preface it like Angela did. Like, this is like in hindsight, right? Like I didn't know this at the time, but I would say I was a reactor. Is that a word? Like I spent a lot of time, probably because I was stuffing stuff, just reacting to everything, like in a mountain kind of way, not in a molehill kind of way. Um, yeah. So it's very reactive.
I think I'm scared of that, Lisa. I'm I like you. I like the Lisa now.
Yeah. And you asked what emotion, and I didn't actually think of that until you were asking Angela. And the thing that comes to mind is what is the emotion for like holding a grudge? Like holding like
Resentment.
like I'm reacting left and right. I'm compartmentalizing all the things, but like I'm kind of holding a grudge because probably everybody else is doing all the stuff that I'm reacting to. So therefore, it's all their fault, not my fault.
Yeah, that's actually really relatable. And one of the descriptions I wrote down for myself as I was preparing was I had this disappointment for all these unspoken, unmet expectations of other people. And so I would just internalize it. And then we know expectations, as we have learned, is just pre-planned resentment. Is that what we say?
Premeditated.
Premeditated resentment. And so I had this underlying feeling of disappointment and almost kind of a, why do I have to do everything? And why doesn't anybody ever do anything for me? Very selfish. I also couldn't really, when I was looking at the questions for this, who was I before coaching? I was kind of thinking, like the disappointment, fixer, definitely. Yeah, like you said, Lisa, it was
Yeah.
very reactive instead of
Yeah. Just
responsive. Like I would
popping off
react
at
instead of,
everything. Yeah.
right. But then when the emotion question came up, I was like, oh, yeah, I was just anxious all the time. Like, so you both were stuffers. I wasn't a stuffer of my emotions, but I definitely was not in control of my emotions. And I felt that my emotions, especially those of fear, anxiety, uncertainty, were controlling me. So that made me show up. Again, no wonder I was reacting, because if you're living in a state of fight or flight or fear or anxiety, you're going to react more than you're going to respond. And then to take it further, I would try to control so that I didn't feel more anxiety. And yeah, so those before pictures are really interesting to go back and reflect upon. And it makes me so thankful for not being in that position anymore, for having grown and changed from that state. So, how about the shift, the tangible shift that we have felt, the behaviors, the patterns, the beliefs, what we left behind? What are some old habits or patterns that no longer keep you stuck? And what tool finally helped you let them go? Do you have a favorite coaching tool that has helped you with this?
My favorite coaching tool. Well, probably the simplest tool, which is to immediately ask yourself, is that true? Is that true? Before you even take it into what we call a creation cycle or CBT or any, like before you run it through all the other questions, just ask yourself, is this true? That's probably the shift that happened, because I realized that most of it wasn't actually true. Like the thoughts or the things I might have been reacting to, the way I interpreted it was not actually what was really happening. It was all the extra that I was creating around it. So that's probably the biggest shift for me, which ties into realizing through not certification, but actually being coached first before even deciding to go through certification. That piece of when you ask yourself if it's true, that you then have full agency to change your thought. There is, for me personally, I am a huge reader of self-help books. I have a whole shelf full of all the things. Give me all the Brene, give me all the, like all the things. Reading it and then being coached by someone else to put that into practice and guide you through it is completely different. So, yeah, that ability to check yourself was a huge shift for me.
I agree. And I love that you brought that up, because I also have read a fair share of self help books over the years. And even the scriptures that I touched on at the beginning of this episode, and there are a lot of scriptures, additional scriptures that tie closely to renewing your mind, life coaching, creating, a new experience of your life. I knew those verses. I had memorized them. I had been through anxiety and panic. And the actual idea of applying them really is where coaching helped to fill in that gap. I knew, I believed, but the actual shift didn't start to happen until like you said, getting coached, being asked the questions, having somebody else poke holes in your story of what you were believing was true, but then realizing, oh, there's another way to think about this. That opened it up for me. And at the same time I found coaching, I also read a book on neuroplasticity of your brain, which basically means that you can rewire your brain. You can learn to think new thoughts. You can let go of old thought patterns and develop new ones. It takes time, it takes purposeful effort, but it is absolutely possible. And so all of that is when I started to see actually change and growth in my life.
When you see the results, it's pretty eye-opening.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's life-changing. And that's why I wanted to talk about this today, because we all have a testimony of life can be experienced at such an amazing level. You don't have to stay stuck. How about you, Angela? What are some old habits, patterns that no longer keep you stuck, or what tool has helped you the most?
I remember back when I was in my stuffing days, my thought on repeat was, it's whatever. It's whatever was my way of saying, it doesn't matter. I don't care. Who cares, anyways? Like, it's whatever was to me was my escape hatch. It just everything. I didn't have to feel anything if it was whatever. It's whatever. It's whatever. It doesn't matter. It's fine. And oh my word, when you talk about rewiring your brain, that habit was part of me. Like it was so built into my thoughts that it took time to catch it. It was not always a loud voice. Sometimes it was just this undercurrent. Sometimes it was such a whisper, I wasn't even fully aware that I was in that state. And so, awareness, number one is awareness, the coaching tool. Become aware of your thoughts, become aware of what you're thinking. Joyce Meyer says, think about what you're thinking about, and know that what you are thinking is creating your experience of life and the results that you have in your life. So, but step number one, awareness. Be aware of what you're thinking. And that was a hard one for me to break. And you know what? I'll be honest, every once in a while it comes up. And I recognize it right away now. It's like, oh, wait, there it is. Wow, what just happened? you know? So, yeah, like pump the brakes right away. I recognize that voice right away now.
I bet you don't really love that voice either, because when I hear you share that little story, it makes me sad for you. Because whenever you're in a setting with your friends, it doesn't usually, I mean, unless somebody is saying, yeah, sure, whatever, pick one, it's great, just bring it over here, like that type of whatever. But typically when others respond to you, at least in my case, when somebody responds to me with, yeah, it's whatever, whatever, I don't care, whatever, 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 I get very like, ooh, I don't know what to do. Like, I'm kind of get like deer in the headlights, like, oh, okay. Should I make a decision? Should I not make a decision? So that made me sad for you that you put Angela in a place with your whatevers. Oh. So you can be scared of old me and I'll be sad for your old you.
I know. I was just sitting here thinking, would we have even been friends 10 years, 15 years ago? Oh my gosh, we were totally different people.
It would have definitely looked different. It definitely would have looked different. God's timing is perfect. And that is something that was closely related to what you were saying, Angela. Awareness, key, so key. Once you wake up to noticing some of these thought patterns that have not been serving you and have actually been creating a life that is not enjoyable to live, for me, the next step for me was accepting what was and not beating myself up for not knowing or being aware sooner. Because I could look back at different things that either had happened to me or decisions I made or didn't make. And I could live in the past and hold myself so accountable for all of that and beat myself up for it. And so coaching has also helped me to see actually all of that, all the good, all the bad, all the mistakes, they were learning opportunities, and God used all of it to make me who I am today. So making peace with what was, having awareness for what is, helps you to be able to move forward, look forward, and to feel like what's possible. And it's not that easy, but that's like the bigger picture of it, of what coaching does, right? So, did either one of you have to wrestle with the acceptance piece, especially of, for me, it was, oh, if I just would have found these tools earlier, I wouldn't have had to go through fill in the blank.
Absolutely. Regret set in big time.
I still wrestle actually a little bit with the acceptance
same.
piece because I will tend to still want to get it right. So if I accept it for what it is without judgment, ooh, it might not look the way my thoughts want it to look. So that acceptance piece, sometimes I still have a tug of war with.
Absolutely. It's not easy. It's not easy at all. Okay, so we've talked about who we used to be, the shift, and what we left behind. Now let's talk about who we are becoming. And this is sort of the after picture, but this is ongoing. We are never fully finished. We always have more room for growth. So it's a forward motion, not an after, and here's the end, right? So, how do you show up differently to your life and relationships now?
So, since I'm kind of parking in the emotions part today, I recognize that my emotions are a signal. And anytime I feel an emotion, it signals me to what I'm thinking. So when you just think, no, emotions aren't meant to be like feared, they're meant to be felt. And what is this telling me? What is this signaling me? I love when Jim and I are having a conversation. If I start to get worked up or get upset about something, one of the first things I say is, I know I'm creating this. I know that this is on me. like I take responsibility for it right away. I'm aware of how I'm feeling, that it's signaling, my emotions are signaling me to what I'm thinking. And then once I am aware of what I'm thinking, I can choose. Do I want to hold on to this thought and emotion, or do I want to change it somehow? And so, yeah, for me, taking responsibility and seeing emotions as a signal and not something that I have to stuff and not feel ever is definitely how I show up differently.
I agree with
That's
that.
so amazing. That's so amazing, too, to show your transformation, because you just called yourself a stuffer a few minutes ago. And now you're saying, now I recognize my emotions. And I even say it out loud, like you're not hiding from it and you're still working through it. I love that.
As we've talked about this, and Angela has pointed it out to me how many times I will say, I just like to really think on things. Like I really like to analyze things. My brain loves to know the why behind most things. So you call it a signal and I call it data. Like, okay, I'm just just collecting data. This is important information that I need to have right now to ward off that feeling of compartmentalize it and never ever open the locker ever. Because that didn't go so well for me. I would say for me is something that how I show up differently. I notice I show up differently in hard relationships. I know the work that I can put in, that I have full agency over, and that I don't want to use the word control. I am the, help me out here, ladies. Like, I can guide my own path when I walk into a room and know there may be some people in that room that old me would have been like, not even showing up to that occasion because they're going to be there. But new me does work on myself and realizes I have full agency over this situation. They don't get to have control over me. Kind of like, what's that saying? They are not going to live rent free in my brain. So I'm taking up full residency.
So instead of being reactive, when you're describing coming into a room with difficult people, instead of being reactive,
I'm being proactive.
What would proactive?
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, because I'm doing the work ahead of time, whether that's getting coached, having conversations with my two besties right here in the Marcos, and kind of walking it out, what my thoughts are about said. I'm just using an event as an example because it's fresh in my mind. But knowing ahead of time that the buck really does stop with me. It's not about the other people. It's not about the circumstance. It's about me. So I get to decide how I'm going to show up. And also I get to decide if I'm going to show up and not feel bad about it. Like, that was also a thing once. I'd be like so resentful that I have to go to said family event and see said family person and then be like, I don't want to, but you have to. And then I'd be mad. Well, how do you think I showed up at that event? Reactive and popping off all.
Scary Lisa.
Yes. Yeah, I probably could make some amends out there with some people for sure.
Oh, we all could. That's very relatable. But what you said about relationships, yes, realizing that I'm responsible, 100% responsible for myself in any relationship. I can't change other people. I can't predict how they might show up. It doesn't help to have expectations put on anybody else, spoken or unspoken. Let them be them. And I get to decide on purpose how I want to show up, how I want to even think about them. Our mentor and coach, Dr. Edie, says your relationship with a person is only as good as your thoughts about them. And that has nothing to do with them. They get to be them, and you can still have the most loving, beautiful thoughts about them, even if there are personality traits about them that are not lovely. That's work. That's deep work right there. I'm not going to lie. One of my favorite tools that we learned about was learning about the true self and the false self. And we have talked about that here before on the podcast, but I think it's worth repeating. And the bigger picture we get from it is when you show up as your true self, you're bringing more of heaven to earth. And when you show up with false self traits, you're bringing more of hell to earth. True self is all from love. It's your true identity and who God made you to be. It's vulnerable, true, and open. You're resilient. You have awareness. You show up with abundance, generosity, forgiveness, love, compassion. You want to serve others. You're showing up with so much joy, and it has this this strength to it. And the false self is based in fear, which, hello, I said my before self was anxiety, like anxious all the time. That is based in fear. So the false self is operating from your ego, from the natural man without being renewed. You're very protective, defensive, you hide your insecurities, very self conscious, lacking awareness, judgmental, resentful, indifferent. You're protecting yourself, you're serving yourself, and it's a very weak stance. And so I like to just reference that sometimes when I'm kind of feeling out of sorts or not quite sure what I'm feeling, whether it's about a relationship or just life in general, to remind myself I get a choice on how I want to show up. I get a choice of which of these columns I want to operate from, where I want my thoughts to land. So that has been a transformative tool for me. And as far as relationships go, I'm so grateful that I learned about coaching when I did. Like, we have a son in law now. I don't want to be the mother in law that nobody wants to be around. I want to show up in so much love and generosity and let them be them, let them figure out life and just love on them. And without trying to control, without trying to manipulate, without people pleasing, which is another thing I could go on for some time about. So, yeah, and yet I'm still a work in progress. I'm guessing both of you could also say, Lisa, I know you like to say you're a work in process.
I do.
So it's ongoing, right? We are never finished. But once you open yourself up to these tools and the desire to change, the desire to improve your life and your relationships, the sky's the limit, really. Are there other coaching tools that we didn't touch on yet today that you think would be worth repeating and bringing up again on this episode that were impactful in your life or that you have seen be very impactful in coaching your clients?
We've talked about this before, but journaling is a big one for me. Because as you're, just kind of journaling it all out, you can actually look down and see what was in your brain. So I'm a huge fan of journaling. I don't do it every day, but there's times where I feel it kind of building up like, I gotta like get all this out of me. I just have to write it out. And so it's just so helpful to write it all down, see, what's hiding in your mind. And then you can, like Lisa said, ask yourself, is this true? And what is the truth? What is God's truth? How can I apply God's truth to this dumpster fire going on in my brain?
I'm glad that you kind of went over quickly the true self, false self, and maybe even we can, like, we all have that as a PDF. So that would be super simple if any listener wanted a copy of what Emily was reading. Because as you were reading that, I was thinking, ooh, okay, so all of us, when you go back to, 26 minutes ago, and we were all talking about the before, man, were we heavy on our false self side of life, and how impressive it really is to, through coaching and a lot of work, but work in a good way, not work as in, oh my gosh, this is impossible. Like work that you see the fruit of your labor, like that kind of work. And then we're over here on this side where we're like, everyone, come on over here. Like, I think that's probably why most of us all decided to become coaches, because man, I don't know, the grass might be greener. Just saying. It's possible. It's possible. So
If you
I
want
think
it.
that tool
Yes.
is amazing.
Yes, absolutely. And the false self is our default self.
Mhm.
If we don't think our thoughts on purpose, if we don't set goals, if we don't journal our thoughts, if we don't take a look at our emotions, all of us, every single one of us, will end up most of the time in that false self category. So
Yeah.
you can choose to stay there if you want to. It is the default. But I would say what Lisa said is true. The grass is greener over on the true self side. And that's who God created you to be,
Yes.
right? He created you for love, for joy, to experience heaven, teeny tiny little glimpses of heaven here on earth. That is what makes life worth living. That's where the hope and the joy is.
Yeah, I mean, he created our brain to protect us. And so there are those thoughts of fear and scarcity, but we tend to stay there. Like it somehow along the way we made that our comfort zone. Because I don't know, doing something different is also still in fear and scarcity. And I don't know if I can do it. So I'll just stay over here where at least I know if I'm afraid inside my house and I will be protected. So we stay in the
You
unknown.
get comfortable with dysfunction.
Yeah.
Until you can't take it anymore, or until everything in your life
Yeah.
is not good.
Yeah, your locker pops open and all of it comes out.
I'm just picturing like a Jack in the Box. All of a sudden, bam!
I mean, you're not wrong, right?
Yeah. No, it's no bueno. No.
So the point is, everyone, we are all a work in progress. And coaching can help move you forward in your life. God is writing each one of our stories. We each have a unique story that He is writing. Everyone has a before, a during, and an after, no matter what age or stage of life you're in. When you think about your own story, maybe where you are right now, we encourage you to think about what might be possible for you. If you're unhappy with your current state of thinking, of emotions, of life, of your relationships, we want to encourage you that change is possible. We are living proof of that. Maybe it's coaching, maybe it's reaching out to a friend, maybe it's binging the Life Coach Lounge episodes. I feel like we're encouraging here, but we are here to support you and to cheer you on. Please reach out anytime. You know how to find us. Look in the show notes for all of the links. Please join our Facebook group where we connect with our listeners on a deeper level and have a once-a-month Zoom call with anyone who wants to join. Until next week, thank you for this conversation, and we can't wait to have you join us again next week here in the Life Coach Lounge.